flute players of the internet, as you have probably already figured out, flute is one of the instruments with the most technical runs and fast notes of any instrument out there. So today I'm going to teach you 8 ways to practice 8 notes. So all of these methods can absolutely be applied to a different number of notes. 8 was just kind of a convenient number to do. Today I'm going to be demonstrating everything with an F major scale, but every one of these steps can apply to a passage with steps, wide intervals, any 8 notes that you need to practice, you can use these methods for. So number 1 is don't play. I know it seems counterintuitive, but it's actually really helpful to say the note names and do the fingerings while saying the note names. So for an F major scale, first I would just say the note names, F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. And then I would do the fingerings and say the note names at the same time. F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E natural, F. If you have a C in your passage, you're probably going to want to put your flute on your face for this so that it's just kind of hard to hold the balance of flute and do C. For number 2, you're going to play with breaks between the note to think about what the next note's going to be. So first you would just do one note at a time. And that's a good way to just get through it. Now you've played all the notes. You know you can play them all. And then I would maybe do 2 notes with a break in between. And you can continue increasing the number of notes before a break as long as you feel like you need to before proceeding to the next step. Number 3 is going to be to play the penny game. This is one of my favorite practice techniques to use with my students. So for this practice technique, you're going to need 3 to 5 little pennies or candies or any other paper clips, whatever sort of token you can figure out to keep track of how many you've done in a row. So what you're going to do is have your pennies lined up on your stand, and whenever you play the passage correctly, you're going to pick up a penny and move it to the right side of your stand. And you'll keep doing that if you play it correctly. And then if you play it wrong, oh, I have a Canadian penny on there. Then if you play it incorrectly, you're going to have to move them all over and start over again. So your goal is to play it correctly 3 times in a row. Step number 4 is going to be to change the articulation. So if the passage is slurred, you're going to tongue it. If the passage is tongued, then you'll slur it. So for example, if I was supposed to play my 8 notes slurred, and if I was supposed to play them tongued, there are a ton of different ways you could change the articulations. And you can come up with your own variations on it. It just helps your brain remember it better if you play it in different ways. Number 5 is going to be to change the rhythm. This one is so helpful. It has helped me with so many crazy technical passages. The first rhythm I'm going to do is long, short. And as you get better at it, you can make the short note even shorter. Then you have to do the reverse, short, long. And that's because if you always practice long, short, that will creep into it and it'll kind of sound a little lilty after you practice it. So it's important to practice both ways, long, short, and short, long. Next one I might do would be any rhythm change you can come up with is awesome. Tip number 6 is to play with focusing on your air and tone quality. A lot of the times I see flutists and my students too getting to a technical passage and suddenly their air is completely gone and their tone quality is horrible. So it's really important to keep focusing on your air and your tone quality during a technical passage. If your air isn't supporting your fingers, it's gonna sound like you played it wrong even if you did your fingers correctly. Versus So even though I did all my fingers right, because my air was so bad and spread out and slow, you couldn't really hear all the notes. So it almost sounded like my fingers weren't quite right. But if you play it with really good, fast, strong air, my fingers did the same things, but you could hear the notes much more clearly. So you can go slower than that, but play focusing on your air and it will immediately sound better. Number 7 is pretty fun. Play it backwards. With an F major scale, that's pretty easy. But if I take a tricky passage from the Nocturne ad Allegro Scherzando by Gobert, here's it forwards. And then I play that backwards. That's really making your brain think in a different way, and anything you can do to change your passage and make your brain make neural connections in a different way is going to help you be able to play it better in the future. Number 8, I'm sure you all know this is coming. Use your metronome. Do it. I know it's hard for a lot of people, and it used to be hard for me too. I used to hate playing with the metronome. I just ignored it. Now it's like my best friend. And incidentally, Lincoln loves playing with it too. It's like his favorite toy. He just walks around dancing to the beep, beep, beep of the metronome. So when I use my metronome to practice something, I write down the tempo that I'm at on the right side of the line that I'm working on. And then when I can speed it up, I'll just erase that tempo or cross it out and write it again. My number 1 piece of advice to you when using the metronome is to only make small advancements in your tempo every day. If I have a passage that I didn't feel happy with how I performed it, it usually ends up being because I tried to take the tempo up too quickly. If you just try and go up a couple clicks every day, that will be much better for you in the long run than trying to make a ton of progress in one practice session. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit that thumbs up button down below and subscribe as well. I will be making a flute practice video or uploading a video of my performances each week, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have as well or make a video about your question about the flute. So thanks again for watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye! Along with the same idea, you can sing it. The same idea, you can... Whoa! There's a motorcycle. If you did, make sure to hit that thumbs up and make sure